Everybody to the Tilmon trip to Texas to watch Starship Flight Test 6. This is an overview video of our trip, and I hope y'all enjoy.
This is a factory, the largest rockets ever built by man, and in the distance the tower. Coming up on Starbase. Starbase.
We flew into San Antonio, Texas, got our rental car, which was a little Jeep Liberty, and drove down to Starbase. And what we saw down there was just incredible. It was awe-inspiring. The size of these rockets and the size of the factory is just mind-blowing. It was a crazy experience.
Mike and Dad checking it out in awe. That is a big rocket.
This is a close-up of the Starship, and when I pan down here, you can see the hot staging ring, which, ejects off the top of the booster when the booster's coming back. This was last-minute sunset pictures of Starbase before we left. We left Starbase Saturday night, and I woke up Sunday morning to go catch sunrise at Isla Blanca Park, which is a major watching place for the Starship. And this is pictures of sunrise in Isla Blanca Park when I was scoping out where we were going to watch the launch from. And there's the launch pad in the facility, and then there's me with both in the background. And there's a dolphin. There were a pot of dolphin that swam by in the channel right before I left. But there's a sunrise in Isla Blanca. It was just absolutely stunning. These pictures really bring it into perspective. And then as the sun comes up, I began taking pictures of the sun gleaming on the Starship on its launch pad, and pictures of the moon, which is incredible. I'm trying to get better at taking these. This is all with my cell phone, so no fancy camera, just my cell phone. But had a blast scoping out Isla Blanca Park. Here on the day on Sunday, came back to watch the wet dress rehearsal of the Starship on 2 days before the flight. So they did the wet dress rehearsal on Sunday, and this is me driving back to the hotel and our view from the hotel Margaritaville, and a Tesla that showed up. Thing was bad, man. That black Tesla was sweet. Later Sunday night, the road opened back up, and I got behind a methane truck heading down to Starbase. It's cool. I'm behind rocket fuel for the Starship.
This is the Star Factory, and right here, this booster right here, the really tall booster, that's the booster that was caught on flight number 5. And the other 3 Starships that are sitting there will probably never fly. They're old articles that are outdated now, but this is the Star Factory, and you can see the 3 towers there where they do the vehicle assembly at, in those tall buildings there. And then the factory continues on down where they do a lot of the nose cone construction. And I know it's really windy, but I hope this comes out. I'm going to try to zoom in on the rocket garden, because you can't go there anymore. Apparently used to be able to drive right up to it. But yeah, that really tall booster right here, that's the one that flew in Flight Test 5.
Quick selfie in front of Starbase in the factory. And then on this footage, I had to mute out the volume because it was so windy, you just couldn't hear what I was saying. But I was trying to show the proximity of the launch towers to Starbase. So here I'm looking east from Starbase down Highway 4. You can see the 2 launch towers. And then I'm panning back to the Starbase facility. Quick shot of the Starbase signs and looking at the factory. And then, as I told you, I was behind some methane trucks coming in. Well, it was like Methane City.
Cryo fuel madness after the wet dress rehearsal. Look at all this. Crazy.
So my brother's a truck driver, and he drives for Keenan Advantage, and all those trucks, a lot of them were from Keenan, which was pretty cool. That Mike's company helps, refuel Starship. That's pretty awesome. They ought to use it in their advertisement. So after that, I went out and walked out on the beach and got these shots where you can see people in perspective to the Starship. It was really incredible to be up this close.
That's Mexico right over there. their Starship. I'm going to zoom in. Hopefully you can see the people that are out there at the base of it. You can see how big it is. See those people? There's the Starship. Those people are down at the base of Starship. That's how big this thing is. There's Starship. There's them people. It's crazy how big this thing is. You can't really see the perspective in a lot of the pictures unless you have somebody like in the foreground like that. It's insane.
You're driving east on Highway 4, this little Starhopper is on your left-hand side. And this was actually the first little test rocket for the Starship and Super Heavy program. And here you can actually see the Starhopper flying. This is in 2019 when the Starhopper gave flight. This is the first time a full-flow staged combustion cycle engine, the Raptor engines that power the Starship and Super Heavy, was ever fired in anger. And this little Starhopper is actually an important piece of Starship history in that it was the first one to fly that Methalox engine. It's just really cool that you can get up right close to this thing. It's right off Highway 4. You can take pictures with it and everything. And, you know, I definitely took some selfies with it. But the little Starhopper flight was an incredible proving ground for this whole program. And everybody, you know, they joked and called this thing a water tower down there. And nobody thought it would ever fly. And it did. And it proved itself and improved the Methalox engines and the Raptor engines. And, you know, that started the whole program. So it's pretty cool to be able to get up close to the Starhopper and take a quick selfie with it. It's pretty awesome. As the sun was setting Sunday night from my, you know, evening trip to Starbase, I was trying to get some pictures with the sun setting and reflecting on the rockets. A little selfie there. There's Starship that landed off the coast of Australia after the flight. And, you know, there it is in front of the SpaceX logo at sunset with another selfie. It's just so beautiful seeing all this in person. There's the Star Factory with the new X logo, the SpaceX logo on the Star Factory, and the Starbase sign at sunset. And there's a panorama of the Starbase sign. Woke up Monday to catch the sunrise and had tropical storm force winds blowing down the beach. Was really concerned about whether or not there was even going to be a launch the next day. It was crazy. The wind was nuts.
It's windy as hell this morning in South Padre Island. Watch the sunrise. It's really windy.
Despite the wind, it was a beautiful sunrise in South Padre Island the day before the launch, and got some epic pictures of the sunrise and the cloud formations. It was just a beautiful, beautiful morning, except for the wind. The wind was just insane, but that's the day before.
Good morning from South Padre Island. Sun rising back here in the background. And then as I look to the south in South Padre Island, that little blinking light right here above my shoulder, that's the tip of the launch tower. My brother's already down there. We're going to try and watch the launch today from Isla Blanca Park in South Padre Island. And he already got a parking space, and I'm going to push my dad down there in a wheelchair 1.3 miles to join my brother here shortly, and we're going to watch this launch and really hope it goes today. We're super excited to see this happen. But it is beautiful here on South Padre Island. It's really pretty. You see the sun rising back there in the background. It's our viewing spot. There's the launch pad. There's a lot of people here already to watch. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it all. They're up there in the parking lot right now, but you know, you can see them here lined up to watch.
Here's my dad, my brother, and I ready to watch the launch. You can see my brother sitting in the wheelchair that I pushed my dad there in.
Suddenly, this blast things like that, which are, you know, a year, regardless of if there's a launch or not. This is $4 million for the program delivering this period. So we're just going to see this thing pick up things apart, I think, towards getting better and faster.
I'm not going to try and track this thing. Yep, water, propellant, ignition. Go, baby, go. Oh, hell yeah, it's going, Dad. I'm not going to track this thing all the way up. I want to watch it. I'm gonna go ahead and record it so we can see the booster coming in. We're watching the booster right now.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the booster. Yeah, you can kind of see it now. You can make it out.
Yeah.
Go, baby. Come on. Look, you can even see the hot gate. You can see the hot gas thrust stage that's separated from it. The hot gas stage is right below it. Yeah, you can see it glinting in the sun every now and then. Here's the booster. It doesn't look like they're bringing the booster. Are they bringing the booster back? Doesn't look like it. Yeah. Yep, they're not going to catch it.
How do you know that?
Because the landing burn already started, Dad. They're not catching the booster. The booster's right there. Yeah, it looked like something went wrong with the engines when they relit them too. It didn't slow down. No, they went into the Gulf. That's it.
Is it already landed in the ocean?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was coming down like a bat out of hell, but something went wrong on the engine relights. It didn't slow down much. Oh well.
Despite my misperceptions about the booster, because the sand dune was blocking me, the booster did successfully land on the ocean using the amount of engines. They didn't have the same malfunction they had when they caught it with the blowout. And, you know, it was a good landing, and it did explode after it tipped over into the water. But the fact of the matter is this booster boosted Starship into orbit. It did its job. It landed. And had it been caught, it wouldn't have fallen over. It wouldn't have exploded. The fact of the matter is this is a test flight to reuse these articles. It was successful. When it was successful, it got Starship into orbit. So here's Starship leaving Texas in the dust, you know, going, 26,000 kilometers per hour. Holland Boogie leaving Texas in the dust. Sayonara. It's probably getting ready to be over Cuba right here in this video. But these are some of my favorite shots of the Starship in orbit coming up here. This is a shot of it, leaving Texas with the sun setting in the background in the west. So the Starship's flying east towards Cuba, and it was pretty awesome. And then it gets all the way around the world to the Indian Ocean and re-enters over the Indian Ocean. And this is some of the re-entry shots where you can see the heating going on the Starship. You can see that the glow from where it's, rapidly re-entering the atmosphere and decelerating. And then here it is, finished most of its reentry, and it's flying. And you can see the stainless steel heat staining on this wing on the Starship. And the Starship doesn't fly per se, it basically falls like a skydiver. And these wings, fore and aft, kind of control its attitude as it's falling. And, you know, it's gracefully falling out of the sky, here over the Indian Ocean. And then I've got some views of the Starship landing off the coast of Australia coming up, which it's going to be diving down through the clouds here. This is on board. You're on board the forward Elonmusk, and the Starship plummeting down through the clouds here and getting ready to start its landing burn. So at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see 3 engines light up, and then it will go down to 2 at the bottom right hand of the screen. And you'll see the ignition when it happens. Right now, there's the tri-venting going on, which is a precursor to engine ignition, which is chilling the lines with the propellant and oxidizer. And that's to prep the lines for the shock of ignition. There's ignition, all 3 engines going. It does a flip. So it goes from, flying on its belly to flipping so it's in the vertical to land. And it cut down to 2 engines here, and here it is landing in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Australia 45 minutes after it was in Texas. That's incredible. 45 minutes after it was in Texas, this same Starship that you saw pictures of all through this video lands off the coast of Australia. And these are the, some of the videos of it landing. Now I got a buoy shot of it coming up here, and this is from the buoy looking up, and you can see the landing burn initiate. There it is in its belly flop. Landing burn initiates, it flips to vertical, and then it comes down to do a soft landing in the Indian Ocean. Eventually, they'll be catching this Starship on the chopstick arms on Mechazilla, just like they did the booster. But all in all, it was a very successful mission. Thank you all for tuning in. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I appreciate all the views.